Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Maria and I are very happy to see you here. As many of you know, Maria is the founder and CEO of Rodial and Nip and Fab. She's launching her first book, How to Be an Overnight Success. It's already launched in the UK and Europe. So this is the US launch.
Thank you for coming, and thanks, Alexa, for being here today.
Thank you so much. Perhaps you could tell us a bit about this book and introduce us to how it came about.
So the book is called How to Be an Overnight Success. The reason I wrote the book was over the last few years, I've been very active on Instagram, and I was getting a lot of questions and advice on how did you start a business, and can you give us some tips? There were times that I was going through a crazy situation through my journey, and I thought, this is so crazy, no one would ever believe this. I have to make a mental note and put this in a book. And I feel there's so much that I have to say for what I've went through to come to where I am today, that I feel that I owe it to all the entrepreneurs out there, all the people who are trying to find their way with their career and where they are in life. I have so much to share, so I thought this is the perfect time to put it all together in a book.
Tell us a bit about the hard work that went into making this book.
Yeah, so the book took me about 3 years to put together. Every time I had a tricky situation at work, I would sit down and write about it, and then put together a list of thoughts and ideas of what I learned from this experience, and if this was to happen to me again, how I would do it in a different way. And I would always write when I was emotionally charged with that topic. So that was a little bit of a therapy for me to get it out of my system. And then at the end, I just took all the notes, put a storyline, and created the book.
How have people reacted to this book so far?
Really well. And actually I have a little story. A couple of months ago, I was doing a book signing at BeautyCon in London. There was a very young woman in her early 20s that came over to me, and she told me that she got fired. She was devastated. A friend of hers gifted her my book. She read my book, and the book gave her confidence to go out there and go for a job that she could only dream about. And what happened was, with that confidence from reading the book, she managed to get the job of her dreams, and she couldn't be happier. And that makes me really proud and happy that my book is inspiring people to follow their dreams.
In the book, obviously, you do talk about how being fired was a good thing for you. How so? What was that personal experience like?
Well, obviously, when it happened, I wasn't thrilled. It was quite shocking. But it put me in a situation that I had to think hard of what my real passion in life was and who I wanted to be. So it shocked my system, and that made me decide to start my own business.
Can you tell us some advice on the best way to sort of handle or overcome rejection?
Every time I get a no in life, for me, this is a challenge, and I want to turn it into a yes. It drives me to work harder. Rejection sometimes doesn't necessarily have to do with you or your product. It may be that the fit is not right. They have other priorities in their business. But then I kept on trying, I kept on calling, and a few years later, we ended up launching with them, which was really exciting.
What was your first big break?
Snake serum is the product that put us on the map. We had a serum that just arrived from the lab, and it was an anti-aging serum. And one of the ingredients related to viper venom. So I thought, and I told my team, let's call it snake serum. We made the product black. We took it to a studio. We had some snakes around it. We did a photo shoot, and it went viral. And suddenly we were getting calls from all over the world, from Japan, from Germany, and people were asking about this crazy snake serum, and we're shipping pallets of it within weeks. And that was the first product that put Rodial on the map.
How important then is social media for your business and building a brand?
As we all know, very important these days. I started 5 years ago on Instagram with 10 followers who were mostly my friends. And I've been working on this account. So as you all know, I have the Mrs. Rodial account, which is my personal account. And it never had an agenda. It was never an account that I wanted to push product with. It was more about sharing my day-to-day situation. And that created a lot of connections with people out there, realizing this is a real person who's writing this. It's not a brand, it's not a business. And anyone who liked me would follow me, would interact. And the account grew organically. There was no agenda, and I think that's why it's been so successful.
could you give 3 quick tips for success?
Focus on your goals, but always have a plan B on how to get there. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you'll get the biggest rewards from the biggest risks. Always look your best. When you look your best, you will be more confident, and that will help you achieve your goals.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Maria, is there anything else
Thank you,
you'd like to say?
guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.